You know that moment when you're sitting in your car, staring at your bank app, doing the math on whether a $40 grocery run is going to overdraft you toothpaste, laundry detergent, basic stuff. And while you're running poverty math in a parking lot, someone you work with, same salary, same rent, same everything, just posted their second vacation this month. You're sitting there thinking is she secretly rich? Did she inherit money? Is she drowning in debt behind those Instagram filters? Here's the answer, and it's going to make you angry. Because it's none of those things. She made one boring financial decision about 6 years ago, spent maybe 20 minutes setting it up, then completely forgot about it. That decision is currently worth around $49,000. In 40 years from when she started, it'll be worth over $3 million, and it costs the same as what most people spend on food delivery every month. I'm going to show you exactly what that decision is, and more importantly, why almost nobody makes it. But first, let me tell you about a janitor. Ronald Reed spent most of his working life being underestimated, wore a jacket held together with safety pins, drove a rusted-out Toyota that his coworkers made fun of, never earned more than around $20,000 a year. When he died at 92, his lawyer called the local hospital about his will. The hospital was probably expecting $5,000, maybe $10,000. Ronald left them nearly $5 million. His total estate was over $8 million. Built entirely by buying dividend-paying stocks every single week for 70 years and never selling. The co-workers who laughed at his car had been working next to a multi-millionaire for decades and had no idea. Ronald didn't have a finance degree. He didn't have a high salary. He just understood one thing that most people never figure out, and that's exactly what this video is about. Now, here's the math. And I need you to actually feel this, not just hear it. $500 a month. Dropped into an S&P 500 index fund. Starting at 25, after 10 years you've got around 110,000. Fine, nothing crazy. After 20 years, 385,000. Getting interesting? After 30 years, over 1.1 million. After 40 years, $3.2 million. Here's what should break your brain. You only contributed 240,000 of your own money. The other 2.9 million. The market grew that for you. You didn't earn it. You didn't hustle for it. You just didn't spend it on something stupid. That's the entire secret. So where does this leave you right now? Because before you say, I don't have $500 to spare, I need to show you something that genuinely doesn't make sense until you see it. The math checks out, but it's going to bother you. Here's the example. Two people, same age, 25. Both invest $5,000 a year. Person A starts immediately, does it for 10 years, then stops completely. Never adds another dollar after age 35. Person B waits until 35, then invests $5,000 every year for 30 straight years, 3 times longer, 3 times the money. At 65, using a conservative 8% return, Person A has around 1.1 million. Person B has around 610,000. The person who stopped wins by nearly $500,000. Let that sit for a second. Person B did everything right, disciplined, consistent, never missed a year for 3 decades. Just started 10 years too late, and that 1 decade cost them the entire game. This is why I keep saying time isn't just helpful in this equation. Time is the actual asset. And right now, today, you have more of it than you will tomorrow. Every year you delay, the monthly amount you need goes up sharply. To hit 3 million by 65, starting today, you need 500 a month. Wait 5 years. You need around 830. Wait 10 years. You need close to 1,400 a month. Same destination, completely different price tag. The window doesn't close, but it shrinks in a way that's very hard to recover from. So, back to where the 500 actually comes from. The average American spends around $270 a month on subscriptions they barely use. Streaming services, gym memberships visited twice in 8 months, apps running quietly in the background, charging $9.99 a month. Another $280 on food delivery and dining out. That's already $550 without even trying. But here's the number that should actually bother you. That monthly food delivery habit. If you invested it instead for 30 years, it becomes over $600,000. You're not spending $25 on a meal. You're spending $600,000 on a meal paid in installments across 3 decades. Every month you keep the delivery habit instead of the index fund, you're making a retirement decision. Most people just don't realize they're making it. Now, I want to be honest with you about something. I was bad at this for years. There was a stretch in my late 20s where I was making decent money and somehow always running close to empty. Car payment, subscriptions, the delivery habit, the I'll start investing when things settle down mentality. Things never settle down. That's not how life works. Looking back, those 3 years cost me somewhere around $150,000 in future wealth, not because I made bad investments, but because I made no investments at all. I was just waiting for the right moment that was never coming. The real risk isn't the market crashing. The real risk is sitting still while time does the math against you. Okay, I know what's coming next. What about crashes? What if I put money in right before everything collapses? This is the fear that keeps smart people broke. So let's deal with it directly. The S&P 500 has averaged around 10% annually for nearly 100 years. That includes the Great Depression, where the market dropped 86%, 2 world wars, the 2008 financial crisis, COVID, every single crash recovered, every single one. The 2020 COVID crash recovered in about 5 months. 2008 took around 5.5 years. But here's what most people miss. When the market drops 30% and you're still putting in $500 a month, you're buying shares at a 30% discount. A crash isn't a threat to this strategy. It's a sale. You don't have to time anything. You just keep buying. The people who got wrecked in 2008 weren't the consistent investors. They were the ones who panicked, sold at the bottom, and watched the recovery happen without them. Historical record, the S&P 500 has never produced a negative return over any 20-year window. Not once. If you stay consistent for 2 decades, you have always made money. Here's something that quietly costs most people around $200,000 and almost nobody notices it. Fees. If you put $500 a month into a low-cost index fund at around 0.03% expense ratio for 30 years, you end up with about $1.1 million. Same money in an actively managed fund charging 1% annually, $900,000. $200,000 difference. Same money, same time horizon. That gap went straight to a fund manager who statistically underperformed the index you would have owned anyway. The funds you want are boring, cheap, and available at any major brokerage. Fidelity, Vanguard, and Schwab all have S&P 500 index funds with expense ratios under 0.05%. Pick one. Doesn't matter which. They all track the same index. Now let's talk about where to actually put this money, and the order matters. Step 1. Before you invest a single dollar, make sure you have a small emergency cushion. 1 month of basic expenses in a savings account. Nothing fancy. Just enough so that a flat tire or a medical bill doesn't force you to pull money out of your investments at the worst possible time. Step 2. If your employer offers a 401k match, that comes next always. It's an immediate 100% return on whatever they match. If your company matches 50% on the first 6% of your salary, and you're not taking that, you're turning down free money. No investment in the world beats 100% instant return. Step 3. Open a Roth IRA. You contribute after-tax dollars, everything grows completely tax-free, and you owe nothing at withdrawal. On a portfolio over $1 million, that tax-free status can save you $150,000 to $200,000 compared to a taxable account. The contribution limit runs about $625 a month for 2026. Max this if you can. Step 4. If you still have margin after the Roth IRA, go back and increase your 401k contributions beyond the match. The actual setup for a Roth IRA takes about 20 minutes. Open it at Fidelity, Vanguard, or Schwab. Link your bank. Buy an S&P 500 index fund. Set up automatic monthly contributions. Walk away. The less you check it, the better. The biggest threat to this strategy is an emotional decision during a bad quarter. Let me leave you with this. There are 2 versions of you 40 years from now. One of them is checking an account with $3.2 million. Not worried about money. Not working at 72. Free. Not because they got lucky, because they automated $500 a month into a boring index fund when they were young and let time do the work. The other version is one emergency away from real trouble. Still working. Wondering where the money went. And if they're honest with themselves, the answer is car payments. Delivery apps. Subscriptions that felt important at the time but don't exist anymore. Both of those people are you right now. You're choosing between them quietly every month, whether you realize it or not. Remember Ronald Reed, the janitor with the safety pin jacket and the rusted Toyota. The co-workers who laughed at his car never figured this out. They made the same choice most people make: spend now, think about it later. Ronald just made the other choice. One boring decision made early, automated, and left alone. $8 million. The co-workers got none of it. The gap between those 2 outcomes wasn't intelligence, it wasn't income. It was 20 minutes and $500 a month. Open the account, set the transfer, buy the fund, then go live your life. The math will handle the rest.